Alright guys, let's dive in. There's a lot happening right now with Trump, the Fed, and the bigger picture around interest rates. And I know sometimes it's just sounds like dry political or economic news, but this stuff matters. It sets the tone for everything: stocks, real estate, and yes, especially crypto and XRP. So let me walk you through what's really happening here step by step. So Trump has made it clear that he wants interest rates lower and fast. Why? Because lower rates pump liquidity into the system, and liquidity drives growth, spending, and in turn markets. But here is the problem. He can't just call Jeremy Powell tomorrow and say, hey, just cut rates. The Fed is technically independent. So instead, what he's doing is targeting people on the Fed board who aren't aligned with his agenda. This is an old political playbook. Presidents can't directly dictate Fed policy, but they can shape it by influencing appointments, stacking the board with people who share their views, and applying public pressure. And right now, Trump's strategy is pretty straightforward. If he can weaken or push out governors who want to hold rates high and replace them with pro-cut voices, he creates a majority. That majority then shifts the Fed's stance. If that happens, it's not just about politics, it's about the floodgates of liquidity opening. So now let's dive in on why this matters for you and me. When rates are high, borrowing is expensive. Businesses slow down, risky assets like crypto get less attention because investors can park their money in bonds or saving accounts and earn a decent return with low risk. When rates come down, the opposite happens. Borrowing gets cheaper and investors can't just sit in cash anymore because yields are lower. They start chasing higher returns, and that's when money flows into riskier markets, tech stocks, emerging markets, and of course, crypto. Now, here's a key point. Markets move on expectation, not just action. The moment traders believe cuts are on the table, they start repositioning. They don't wait until the cut is official. That's why Trump's pressure campaign is important. Even if cuts don't happen tomorrow, the perception that they are more likely already changes how money moves. And crypto, being one of the most sensitive assets to liquidity shifts, reacts early. But while this political battle is playing out, something else is happening quietly that might be even more important, long-term especially: stablecoins. We've already seen adoption spreading in places you might not expect. So in South America, people are using stablecoins to escape currency devaluation and sending money across borders faster and cheaper than banks. In Africa, some startups are also using them for payments because traditional banking is slow and expensive. In Europe, a few fintech apps are also experimenting with stablecoin settlements for online shopping. And here's why governments and banks are interested. Stablecoins are backed by US treasuries. That means when demand for stablecoins grows, someone is buying treasuries. That keeps demand for US debt strong, which Washington loves. And it gives issuers, whether that's Circle with USDC or potentially JPMorgan with their own coin, a steady stream of yield. It's the US dollar, but digitized and upgraded. Faster, programmable, borderless. That's why Goldman Sachs recently talked about stablecoins having a $1 trillion future. Personally, I think that's conservative. Now, let's bring this back to XRP and crypto. Stablecoins don't move on their own. They need networks. They need infrastructure to carry value across borders instantly. Ethereum has been one of the leaders, but anyone who's ever paid gas fees knows it has scaling issues. Solana's been fast, but faces reliability questions. And then there is XRP. From the very beginning, XRP was built for payments, quick, cheap, and scalable transactions. Exactly the type of use case stablecoin issuers and payment providers need. Think about it like this. If you're a bank in Southeast Asia settling trades, or a remittance company in Africa sending money back home, are you going to rely on slow, expensive systems? Or are you going to use rails like XRP that settle in seconds? That's the real edge here. And as trillions in stablecoin flows start looking for rails, networks like XRP stand to capture a slice of that demand. Analysts are already throwing out numbers: 10K plus Ethereum, 15 to 40 XRP just from being part of this infrastructure build-out. And remember, that doesn't even factor in ETFs or Ripple's direct partnerships with financial institutions. Meanwhile, let's not ignore what's happening in the legacy system. US bankruptcies are climbing, over 70 filings just in July, the worst since 2020. Corporate debt loads are getting heavier with higher borrowing costs. And in Europe, inflation is proving sticky, even as growth slows, putting households under pressure. And in Asia, some currencies are struggling to hold against the dollar, causing capital to flee to safer assets. So we can see that this is all interconnected. When fiat systems strain, alternatives look better. It's the same story over and over. In Argentina, people shifted the dollars when their currency collapsed. Today, in places like Nigeria or Turkey, people are increasingly looking at stablecoins and crypto for stability. Scarce assets like Bitcoin, XRP, and Ethereum, they all become attractive not just as speculation, but as protection. So you can't just print another trillion XRP. You can't double the Bitcoin supply overnight. That scarcity makes them fundamentally different from fiat currencies that are being inflated away. So let's tie this all together. Trump is applying the pressure on the Fed. If he succeeds, expectations shift and liquidity starts moving earlier than most people think. At the same time, stablecoins are spreading faster than most headlines give credit for because they solve real-world problems in payments and finance. And behind it all, the fiat system is showing stress, bankruptcies, inflation, debt currency issues. So when you line up those prices, you see why assets like XRP are in such a unique position. Now, I know a lot of you ask me, okay, this all sounds great, but how are you personally trading it? And that's why I started using BITUNIX. I've left my sign up link right in the description. So if you use that link and join, you will be able to see all of my trades in there and every entry, every exit, exactly how I'm positioning myself. I keep it transparent, so it's not just talk, you're literally seeing the strategy in action. So if you're serious about following along and learning as these moves play out, take the link below, jump on BITUNIX, and you'll be in straight away. So yeah, here's my takeaway. Don't get distracted by just the daily noise. Look at the bigger shifts happening and pressure on the Fed and stablecoin adoption cracks in fiat. Crypto isn't just waiting for approval anymore. It's just being adopted in the background while the headlines just focus on the politics side of things. And when that adoption hits a tipping point, then the price action will follow. So what do you guys think? Do you believe that Trump can actually tilt the Fed toward cuts? Do you see stablecoins as the bridge that finally shines the line on XRP? So yeah, drop your thoughts in the comments below. I really want to hear your take. And yeah, if you found this breakdown helpful, make sure you like and subscribe. And so yeah, stay tuned because what's coming next could actually be one of the most important shifts we've ever seen in crypto. Much love, and I will see you in the next one.